Hawkins Chronicles. This is another entry for July 4th, 2026 supplemental. Now, it's a rather interesting street. I don't know how old this street is, but I know that it is very, very old because I know, and we all know from history, that President James Madison, when he was leaving Washington because the British had just taken the federal city at the time, he made his way here. Now, that in of itself is probably going to be a longer form video. This is a short. We don't have the time. But if you notice, these flags are lining the street. And it's not just because it's the 4th of July. Again, this is a historically significant street. And this street is historically significant for lots of reasons, but perhaps the most important is because when avoiding contact with British troops, President James Madison stayed here. Now, what's really interesting, this is called the Caleb Bentley House. Caleb Bentley is actually the relative of a neighbor of mine, and I'm going to get out of the street so that I don't get hit by a car. Yeah, it was like Caleb Bentley was a relative of a neighbor of mine, but the guy who designed this house, his last name was Thomas. He was also related to that same neighbor. Anyway, there's another house on the street, and we'll come here another time and talk about that place. This house took in President and Dolly Madison. But there's another house on the street that was also related, also owned by a person who was related to the same friend of mine. And that house refused President Madison. Caleb Bentley was a staunch Quaker, and according to Quaker custom, you are supposed to take in a stranger for a day or two and offer them hospitality. The other relative, who was a Quaker, said, look, I'm a pacifist. I don't want to be involved in this spat you got going on. It's none of my business. I bid you a fond farewell, or words to that effect. Imagine one of these houses around here, the guy who owned it told a sitting president of the United States of America to hit the road. And President Madison was gracious enough. That's exactly what he did.